Welcome back, everybody. Our learning target for today is I can solve a one-step linear equation. We're going to need a calculator for this, so go ahead and go get that out. Put Mr. Pause on pause right now and go get your calculator, and then come back once you have it. As we talked about in the last unit, when you're solving an equation, what you're looking for is a value of the variable that when you plug it back into the original equation, it makes a true statement, such as 5 is equal to 5. So that's going to be our goal. Our goal is going to be to isolate the variable, and we're going to want to find its value. Now, when you think of things being equal, you want to kind of think about a scale. And in order for a scale to be balanced, if you put things on one side of the scale, then you have to put the same number of things on the other side. And similarly, if you take things off a scale, in order to keep the scale balanced, you'd have to take the same number of things off the other side of the scale. So, in order to do this, what we need to do is we need to find x. So wherever x is, we need to locate it and see what we're going to want to isolate. And then we're going to have to get rid of the stuff around the x. And the ways we do that, we want to zero out addition and subtraction. So if any number is either being added or subtracted to x, what we want is to add or subtract the same number. So when that crosses out, what you'll end up with is x plus 0, which is awesome because x plus 0 is just the same number, it's just x, because adding 0 does not change the value. The other thing we want to do is cross out multiplication or division to 1. And the reason we want to do that, if you have 1 times x, since multiplying by 1 gives you the exact same number, 1 times x would just be x all by itself. And again, that's our goal. We want to isolate the variable. We want to get it all by itself. So how can we get things to either zero out or cross out to 1? Well, we do that by doing inverse operations. One pair of inverse operations are addition and subtraction. If you add and subtract the same number, that'll give you 0. Another set are multiplication and division. If you multiply and divide by the same number, that'll give you 1. And again, 1 times anything is just itself. And the other thing that'll give you 1 is multiplication by a number's reciprocal. So if you did 5/4 times 4/5, well, those would just cross each other out. That would just give you 1 as well. So that's our goal. If we're adding or subtracting something to x, we want that to zero out. And if we're multiplying or dividing, we want to get it to cross out and equal 1. So let's start doing some problems. We're going to solve for the variable, and we're going to write our answer as a fraction where necessary. I'm going to give you a lot of problems that have fractions as answers. So if you get a fraction as an answer, don't be afraid of it. As long as you did the steps the right way, you're probably on the right track. And another thing, the proper way to write answers in math is a fraction. So for example, let's say you had 28 and then you ended up dividing it by 5. So you could write it like this as 28/5. You could also write it as 5 3/5. That would be a mixed number because it has the whole number part of 5 and the fraction of 3/5. This isn't what we want though. The proper way to write answers in mathematics and the preferred way is the fraction. So anytime we get something that doesn't come out evenly, we're not going to make it a decimal, we're not going to make it a mixed number, we're just going to leave it in fraction form and reduce it. So our first equation we're going to solve, we have 345 equals x plus 98. And again, what I got to do, I got to find the x. And then what's happening to x? Well, this plus 98 means 98's being added to it. So since it's addition or subtraction, we want to get it to zero out. And we zero out adding 98 by subtracting 98. So I'm going to subtract 98. And if you look, the equal sign acts as the balance in the scale. If I take 98 off the right side, then I also have to take 98 off the left side to keep it even. So this is good, x plus 0. And writing that plus 0, that's really a waste of time because it's just adding 0. It keeps the same number. So we won't even keep that. We're just going to say that's x. And then we just, on the left side, need to do 345 minus 98. And we get 247. And if you plugged it back in, you'd see it would work. If you did 247 plus 98, you'd get 345. So we know that that's a solution. Okay, another addition one. Notice here the x is there, and it's on the left side of the equal sign, and it's also after the number, but that doesn't matter. We see addition still. And we know if we have addition, the way to zero out addition is subtraction. So to get this x all by itself, I need to take this 135, and in order to get it to zero out, I'm going to need to subtract it from both sides. So minus 135 minus 135. Remember, if you don't get 0 with what you add or subtract on the same side of the x, you're adding or subtracting the wrong number because the goal is to have the x all by itself. So that's going to cross out. That'll be 0 plus x, which is just x. And then I need to do 211 minus 135. And I get x equals 76. And same thing, 135 plus 76. 211. Looks good. Okay. Next one, x minus 248 equals 381. There's my x. I see that it's subtraction this time. And so in order to get the subtraction to zero out, if I have minus 248, I need to add 248 in order to get that to cross out to 0. And since I added 248 on the left side, then I also need to add 248 on the right side. So that's just 0, that goes away. X minus 0, just x. And 381 plus 248 is 629. So x equals 629. That one's done. Next one, got another subtraction one. Same thing here. It's kind of tricky. The x is on the right side of the equation, and it's also written after the number. But remember what we want this x all by itself. And I have the negative 386 here plus x. They're being added together. So I need to make this 0 in order to get the x by itself. And how do I zero out negative 386? In order to get 0 there, I need to add 386. So I add 386 there, and then since I did it on the right, I also do it on the left. So add 386. That's just 0. 0 plus x is x. And let's do negative 74 plus 386, and we get 312. Okay, so that's some addition and subtraction. We want to zero things out. Now these are a little different. Here we have negative 7x equals 100. So there's the x. And notice the negative 7's touching the x, so that means it's being multiplied. If I want to get the x by itself, since we have multiplication, now I have to get this to cross out and divide out to 1. So what we do, we're going to divide by negative 7. And again, we have to do it on both sides. So negative 7 divided by negative 7, that's just 1. So we get 1x. And again, 1x, 1 times x, that's a waste of ink to write that because 1 times x is just x. So we just can have x. And then, since I divided by negative 7 on the right side, I need to divide by it on the left. And 100 divided by negative 7, not going to reduce. So that's okay. We're not going to write a decimal. We're not going to write a mixed number. We can just leave it as negative 100/7. And we're done. And an answer like that is perfectly okay. It's a preferred method. Most things in math and in real life are actually messy. So if you get a nasty fraction like that, don't sweat it. It'll be okay. Okay, next one, x divided by 19 equals 46. Same thing, there's our x. What's happening, x is being divided by 19. If I want to get that to cross out to 1, then I need to multiply by 19. Because if I do times 19 and divided by 19, I'll get my 1x, and I'll be good. I multiplied by 19 on the left side. So in order to keep my scale balanced, I need to multiply it on the right side. 46 times 19, 874. So x equals 874. Again, multiplication and division, we want to get things to cross out to 1, because 1 times anything is the same number. Ooh, everybody's favorite, fractions. Fractions are your friends. Don't be scared of them. They'll be fine. So we're still solving. Still going to write it as a fraction if we need to. And remember, we talked about earlier with fractions, if you multiply by the reciprocal, then you will get 1. So if I want to get everything to cross out here, I need to take my left side and I need to flip this over. So I'll multiply it by 7 over negative 9. And since I did it to the left, I also have to do it to the right. So I multiply this by 7 over negative 9. And one thing you got to be careful of when you're using your calculator, when you type fractions in, you've got to use the parentheses. Well, these we know, if we just reduce, cross reduce, that's just going to be 1. So 1x, that's good. And now for my calculator, I need to type this in. So I'm going to do 153. And then I need to do times. And now for my fraction, it has to be in parentheses. So 7 over negative 9. We put it in parentheses. And we get x equals negative 119. Right? Last one, 5 halves x equals 78. It's the 5 halves is touching the x. It's a fraction. I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So times 2 over 5 on the left, times 2 over 5 on the right. That crosses out. X equals, we have just the 1x, so we're good. 78 times 2/5. Don't forget that 2/5 is in parentheses. And the calculator says 31.2, but we don't want that. We want a fraction. So we're going to go to Math hit enter twice, and that'll give us our fraction 156 fifths. So x equals 156 fifths, and we're done. One more note. You know, if a number is being multiplied by something, you can just divide both sides by that number and get the answer. So let's say if you want to do that using your calculator, since multiplying by the reciprocal and dividing are the same thing, you could also use your calculator. As long as you use the parentheses around your fraction, I could divide by the 5/2. So another way to do this, 78 divided by 5/2, and we get the same thing we got before, which if we changed it to a fraction would be 156 over 5. So that would be either way. Just make sure that if you're multiplying, you use the reciprocal, because otherwise it doesn't cancel out to 1. And if you're dividing, make sure you use the same number, because the goal is you have to get everything to cross out and give you 1 so that that x is all by yourself. So now that you've seen how to solve one-step equations, you can go try some practice exercises.